of your heart. You gotta let love grow into the kingdom of your heart. I'll raise you, raise you, raise you up. 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 You gotta let love grow into the kingdom of your heart. You gotta let love grow into the kingdom of your heart. I'll raise you, raise you, raise you up. I'll raise you, raise you, raise you up. I'll raise you, raise you, raise you up. I'll raise you, raise you, raise you up.
to start in a few minutes. On va commencer.
Welcome to my son.
Yes, we already met. Est-ce que c'est un problématique s'ils sont tous allumés dans le
I'm sorry.
Okay, let's start this session. Please, can you take your seats? We're going to try to keep the timing planned. Okay, here's the slides about the session. All right, let me just manage classes and all the stuff. Okay, good morning, everybody. I know you had dinner tonight and you're very tired and you're waiting for the coffee break. It will happen at some point. Good morning. My name is Caroline Bellon-Ménagier and I'm the head of international relations at the University of Poitiers. This morning we'll be talking about the virtual institutes of the European Alliance EC2U. And as you can see, those virtual institutes are not virtual at all because they're incarnated by the people on stage this morning. Each person represents a work package related to the virtual institutes, and everyone is going to answer a few questions. Before we start, let's just make sure that everybody's up to speed to what virtual institutes are. They're the research intensive part of the Alliance. They are the European labs without walls that gather researchers, master students, and PhD students, some of them being on stage. And they all work based on the UN development goals, the 3 development goals that you know by heart, soon to be 4: good health and well-being, quality education, and sustainable cities and communities. Because they have no walls, those virtual institutes rely on activities such as online conferences, summer, winter school, maybe spring school, and autumn schools, basically, in one of the Alliance's partner institutions. And also, they allow the joint thesis supervision. And we have the pleasure of having 7 joint thesis supervision in Poitiers, which means that those virtual institutes, they're definitely not virtual. Now, it's time to take in-depth stock of the progress of the 3 virtual institutes of EC2U by giving the floor to their participants on stage. They will answer the following questions for the next 45 minutes. What has been the impact of the Alliance on your work? What are the strengths and weaknesses of your virtual institutes? And what are the perspectives and challenges of virtual institutes? How do you see them evolving in the future? So each work package has worked on an answer for those questions, of course. I'm going to ask each question to the 3 institutes, and each group will have 15 minutes altogether to answer those questions. I will let you know when it's time to speed up or wrap up. So if you see me doing signs, that's because you have too many things to say, probably. And we should have 10 to 15 minutes or maybe more at the end to answer questions or to discuss with the audience in this room. Okay, let's start with the first question. What has been the impact of the Alliance on your work? So we'll start with WP4, Good Health and Well-being, which is also called GLADE. And I think, Lena, you're going to answer that first question. Maybe you can introduce yourself and try to answer that first question. Thank you.
Hello, good morning, everybody. My name is Lena Schmitz. I'm PhD candidate from University of Vienna, and I'm working for Work Package 4, Glade Virtual Institute in EC2U. I would like to give some insight on what the impact of EC2U and the work package especially has been on our work. So one of the most important impacts was the thematic network that we gained through our Glade Virtual Institute, especially, for example, within our Healthy Campus. Over the EC2U platform, we have the possibility to adapt and offer all the achievements that we have done locally in an EC2U network for European alliances and European universities, and this way transform what we have been doing and exchange with other colleagues and get more knowledge to keep improving on what we're doing.
Thank you. I think, Ricardo, you also have something to add. Can you introduce yourself? And then, yeah, I think the mics, maybe, yeah, speak closer to the mics. Thank you.
Good morning to everyone. I'm Ricardo Almendra. I'm currently teaching at the University of Coimbra. I'm a geographer. It's a pleasure to be here, and as it was a pleasure to be now with our colleagues of the Virtual Institute. The Virtual Institute has had a strong impact both on my individual level and I think also at the institutional level. At the institutional level, being part of the Virtual Institute allow us to share resources, not only funding and technology, but also experiences and knowledges. I think it had an impact in our local university teams. I think it led to improvement of scientific approach. I think it led to a better ways of working, to a better ways to address the challenges that we need to address. On the personal level, on the individual level, if you would like to say it, the activities that we organize within our virtual institute, several activities. We had half-day conferences, we had summer schools, we had workshops. They allow us and the other colleagues and also students to build a proper environment to gain international exposure, cultural understanding, and also personal development. So I think the virtual institutes, for us, they contribute at the personal level and also at the institutional level.
Thank you very much. WP5, Elisabetta, for quality education, if you can also share with us what has been the impact of the Virtual Institute on your work?
Yes, I will be glad to. Thank you very much. So my name is Elisabetta Jezek. I'm a linguist. I work at Pavia, and I am member of the VP5. So I think we have been literally and figuratively transported in our colleagues' area of expertise. So we have had a very fruitful exchange, and we have been meeting several times, and I had the idea of sharing with you some of the main activities that we have done. I will just mention the titles, okay? So in April 2022, we had a workshop, Digital and Computational Tools and Methodologies for Interdisciplinary Research on Language, Culture and Society. And we had a number of colleagues for all the universities. We also have a joint PhD intensive courses and trainings. We had two different editions, one in Poitiers and one in Pavia. And we also had a number of blended intensive programs. In particular, we had one in November, December 2022, one in Iași, one in Turku in March 2023, one in Jena in April 2023, one in June 2022 in Poitiers, and in October here, in October in Coimbra. And we are also, so these are the activities that we carried on where we met and had this fruitful exchange because each of us has a different area of expertise, although related. And the last one I want to mention is that we also participate in different projects, specific research projects, and we have one going on biased language automatic search and detection, an interdisciplinary and multilingual approach for actors in higher education. So we have been meeting several times, and we hope to go on with this approach in the future.
Thank you. We understand the transportation that you were talking about. Thank you. So WPC6 is Sustainable Cities and Communities, and so I think Manuel is supposed to answer the first question on the impact on your work.
Okay. I think Marco is the one more prepared for the first question, but
no, go ahead.
I may briefly just... Okay, I'm a professor in mechanical engineering in the department in the University of Coimbra. My area is mainly energy and environment. And I'm the coordinator at the University of Coimbra, what we call the EFS, the Energy for Sustainability Initiative. And I was invited by our vice rector at the time to be involved in the proposal of EC2U. And it's quite interesting for us because it gives us the right European network for, it's like extending our initiative with colleagues at an European level. And the main challenge we had was to launch the Master in Sustainable Cities and Communities, and also to start the activity of the virtual institutes. We succeeded, but this is a continuous improvement process. And so we have quite interesting challenges for the coming part of the project. But for the moment, I think I will pass.
I want to introduce yourself as well.
Yes, Marco Morandotti from the University of, sorry, by the screen, but anyway, for the my left side, here I am, from the University of Pavia. I teach building technologies for restoration and preservation of historical heritage. And I have to see that, according to what I've already has been stressed by my colleagues of other WPs, because I see there are kind of similarities in this kind of impact. It was a huge impact in my personal feeling, both as a researcher and as a teacher. From the point of view of the research, of course, the most huge impact is that it was completely brand new alliance. I mean, we didn't work as a group with nobody of other us before, and this is clearly an opportunity. So we met the point to have the opportunity to build from the ground a new network of cooperation. And of course, this is also something difficult because it's easier to say rather than to act in that direction. It takes time, and I think that the opportunity to have been a new time perspective for the future for the EC2U Alliance is a really good point, because I think that the hard work has been done in these 3 years, and so things are going much more fluid, and having the opportunity to work with a completely new range of colleagues means a huge amount of multidisciplinarity, and this is, I think, a key word also for didactic experiences. We tested many short-term didactic experiences like winter school, summer school, blended intensive programs, micro-credentials. And also that the point I'm closing is that you have a huge and open platform of people in front of you, an audience that's completely different from your specific course in your degree course, and this requires effort to be effective as a teacher when you speak to biologists and economists and engineers in the same classes, speaking about the experience of our virtual institute and joint master, and this means effort of cooperation. And the last word I'd like to say is that we have the opportunity to engage also the municipalities, starting from didactic and research activities, and they also were really active in proposing other the participation of side projects and side competitions, and I think that this was a really good point in practice. I mean, among the feeling to be a part of a network, not just because we read, we say, but because we act as it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. It's very positive, and it's a great transition to the strengths and weaknesses of the virtual institutes. And if you have recommendations for improvement, of course, we'll take the recommendations. So sorry, Sarah, I don't want to step on you. We're going back to Glade and WP4. So if I'm right, Valentin, you're going to answer the question with Ricardo. So Valentin, if you can introduce yourself and go ahead and tell us about the strengths and weaknesses.
Hello everyone, my name is Valentin Fernandez. I'm doing my PhD in co-agreement between university... Oh, is it okay? Yeah. Between University of Coimbra and University of Poitiers. So now I'm in my second year of PhD, and my subject is I'm in neuroscience about brain disease, and I tried two different metabolite modifier. In France, I will try sports, physical activity, and in Portugal, I try more about resveratrol, which is a molecule present in the grape. So about the strengths and the weaknesses of both institutions, I would say that it's more easy to see the strengths than the weaknesses from all what both universities bring to my work. But I will say that it's mainly in the functionment of the laboratory in which I work, which, like for example in France, we are really few PhD students that make that we are really more close to our PI, but it gives us less freedom. While in Portugal, we are more independent, but we are many PhD students for few PI. So I would say that strengths and weaknesses in the two institutions, but that are complementary, and in my experience, bring me only good things in my study.
Thank you very much. Ricardo, do you want to complete?
Thank you. In my point of view, also, as the colleagues already said, I think our major strength is also our, putting in the words that so gladly Professor Gameiro used, are also our main challenges. I would not call it weakness. Is the diversity that we have. We are constituted by teams, by people from 7 different countries, different scientific approaches. So this is a richness, but it's also a challenge. We had to learn how to communicate. We had to learn how to use proper words within each other. So that is an area that, as we grow up together, we will keep on improving, and is an area where we can gain, that can grant us a lot of potential. Then we have several other strengths, the network opportunities, and the collaborations fostered within the virtual institutes, the scientific projects that we propose together, the activities that we organize that gain scale, that gain visibility by working together. Also for me, one of the main strengths, because although we are all very well organized within the Alliance, at the end we are talking about people. And when the personal relations do not work, neither the best organization will make it work. And so for me, one of the big strengths of our virtual institute is the personal bond that put us all together. And this also leads us to my last challenging, that is, although we really work good together, we compromise, let's say it a bit more lightly, we take one for the team and we take another for the team and another, and that takes us to the big challenges. Because as researchers, we are always unhappy and want to improve, to do more, but the workload is very challenging because we have our commitments in our institutions, we have our partners, we have a lot to do with few time, and at the end is the personal, the friendship that drive us to the next step.
Thank you very much. That's a balance we all are striving to reach, definitely. So for the Virtual Institute on Quality Education, do you say VIC among yourselves? VIC? You don't say anything? Okay. Okay. So, Maria Clara.
I think because it's a multilingual thing, we say VIC and VIC, and okay. I say tomato and you say tomato. So, and I think that's the best
Thank you very much. Can you introduce yourself and then maybe tell us about the strengths and weaknesses of your virtual institute?
Thank you very much. My name is Clara Keating, Maria Clara Keating. I am a linguistics professor at the School of Arts and Humanities, and I work in multilingualism and literacies, and then I'm a social linguist. And I'm one of the few linguists that actually works in a Center for Social Studies, which means that there is an interdisciplinary background in my own work that I think I put up a lot in the masters and in our work. Let me just, and I think that the interdisciplinarity here is one of the strengths of our work. We have, and also weakness, because sometimes we think we're talking about tomato and we're talking about tomato. So the issue here is quite important. Because we tend to work and solve that by actually making our problems very explicit, I think. And the problems making explicit allows us to have a conversation about them and create some very shared and explicit solutions. And I think that this was one of the things that was a strength in our project or in our week or right. So I can say that there are about 4 points in terms of strengths and weaknesses. I cannot think about weaknesses without strength or weaknesses as challenges. And ways of solving issues. So one of them was communication, both internal communication within the university, within the various different institutional actors, teaching staff, administration, research, or whatever, bureaucratic administrative, which made us, develop, or, in our case, was not, postponed our accreditation of the MA, for instance, and stuff like that. So communication was a weakness, but also a strength, because I think that it was an opportunity to develop some internal communication within various institutional actors that were not talking to each other. So I think that's an issue. In terms of external also, right? I think in terms of external across institutionals, we found very good affinities, interesting affinities between different people that we did not know existed because we were not a research team per se. So the MA, the process of the MA, personally, it was an opportunity to develop some kind of research team, which allows us to have a research, interdisciplinary dialogue. So I think that was also a strength in terms of communication. In terms of dissemination, I think that's also, dissemination of the project and dissemination of the MA and the research projects. It could have worked better, but again, this is a diplomatic, long-time conceiving conversation. We cannot really have a conversation without taking the time to listen and talk. So, the various different velocities here, very different rhythms going on. And I think that we managed to have the time to do that kind of conversation, but it's a long time thing. It's not only, very speed, it doesn't work in a short time of a project. So I think that's not bad, but then it could have worked better. In terms of strengths and weaknesses, the focus on the MA, the teaching and the administration, was, even though it was the focus that then kind of triggered the rest of the research affinities and the research synergies that we had, was very heavy in terms of management, administration, and so forth and so on. And it did not allow more of a research space or the development of, a research lab on linguistic, cultural, and social diversity, which in itself it's an umbrella, very big umbrella, a large umbrella. And we need to bring out the different synergies of the different groups and research within the university, for instance, at the University of Coimbra, or within the various different institutions, to focus on particular issues. So I think that it was an opportunity to do that in a very, I think, in a positive way. So articulation between the MA and the research project would be the strength of the whole project, but also the places where we need to develop and challenge and improve. You know, of course, issues of human resources, spaces, etc. So,
thank you very much. Can I ask you just one more question? Because you have a very specific virtual institute on languages. Is language an issue? Which language did you use to work? Was it French or Italian? Or because for the integration of all what you're doing into everyday life of everyone in EC2U Alliance, for us French people, language can be an obstacle. So I just needed your input on that.
Well, that's the underlying understanding of language that needs to be changed, right? So we shouldn't be thinking about languages as being obstacles. Maybe trans-language to the other would be the best solution to communicate. So what were the languages that we have used? We have used English as a lingua franca, right? But then there were all sorts of, you know, we could I don't know Italian, but I might translanguage to Italian and say, listen, I'm not a fluent speaker of Italian, but I will speak Italian anyway if I want to communicate with you. So I think that's one issue. The Virtual Institute for Quality Education is not only about languages, but is an articulation between languages and education. It's also important, even though the educational spaces can be, you know, broadly worked. So, yes, I think bringing a multilingual stance and a multilingual paradigm to the issues of languages and literatures and cultures is much more important than the rest.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So let's go to work package 6 and sustainable cities and communities. I guess Augustine then. Can you introduce yourself?
Yes, thank you. Good morning, everybody. I'm Agustín Ferraro from the University of Salamanca. I'm a professor for political science and public administration in Salamanca. And well, let me briefly consider our strengths and weaknesses. I begin with our strengths. The creation of the Master in Sustainable Cities and Communities, I think, has shown a strength in coordination, cooperation. It's a very successful master, and I would like to underline that result, that achievement. On the other hand, our virtual institute has a kind of interdisciplinarity which is rare. It's not usual to combine natural sciences and engineering with social science and legal approach. So we're working together, and I've seen that the communication between these fields is often very difficult, but we're working together on that. And in terms of research, we also had an interesting result. I think one of our strengths is the focus on research. We published the first book under the framework of the EC2U Alliance, an international publication with contributions from members of all the universities in the Alliance on sustainable cities and communities that was presented last month. And so I think that's an important result, and we are planning a second volume, a second book, working on specifically this cooperation of natural sciences, engineering, social sciences, and law. Means that we're working on technically proficient solutions for environmental issues, for sustainability. But on the other hand, we're working on political sustainability. So how to bring those solutions to the political sphere and how to guarantee or provide or work towards the legitimacy of these technical solutions to avoid the issue of technocratic impositions. That could be a problem if technical solutions are perceived as impositions from technocracy, imagine. So the political science and the legal aspect, of course, is how to transform the engineering and technical solutions supported by natural sciences into regulations. Now we're working on a second book, also an international publication. It will be, we're meeting from the members of the Alliance. And well, as to our weaknesses, one weakness is that we don't have enough money. No, I think targeting research, because as you mentioned, the issue of the common language using English for international publications can be a problem in the sense that, well, some people need editing, for example. Actually, we could do with more funding for that kind of support for research, for example. So I mentioned this as an idea because, for example, mobility is well provided for, but sometimes for areas accessory to research, particularly to the creation of international publications, funding actually could be, it's an area that requires improvement, although I know that the EC2U Alliance is working on this, but I wanted just to mention that, yes, for us who are doing all this research, that's an important point. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I guess this is, again, a perfect transition to the next question and last question, which is, how do you see the virtual institutes evolve in the future? And so we're back to WP4 with Valentin. I think that you're going to answer part of the question, and Lena together. Please go ahead, whoever wants to start. Yeah, speak closer to the.
All right,
to the
yes,
microphone.
I will try. Also, first, thank you so much for illustrating our ideas and the points that we're making here with the pictures. I can see right now we are at home in our University of Jena, in our Community of Action Week, and I think this is the perfect example of what we are actually doing and what we want to keep doing. We want to keep bridging the gap that is still between science and the communities and the practical appliance of what we are doing. So, for example, in the joint master program of our Virtual Institute of Good Health and Wellbeing, we try to offer this European approach, this interdisciplinary approach to students from all over the world, to European students, to actually embrace what it's like to live in this intercultural and interdisciplinary work, and to provide them with skills. This is just one example of what we would like to do in the future as well, to continue this successfully the second year of the master program, but also the other conferences, meetings, summer schools, BIBs, forums that we have been doing so far, so we can keep enlightening this room with beautiful pictures also in the future. For that, it's important that we keep meeting in person, to actually foster these human connections that we have been talking about before, and keep on doing the science, especially to have the empirical evidence of security, of always knowing what we are doing. So thank you so much for this first successful phase of the EC2U Alliance.
Valentin?
Yeah. So I would say bring more cooperation between the different country, different laboratory. In my case, I know that I would like to create projects between my laboratory in France and in Portugal, and eventually come people from Portugal in France in my laboratory to do study and see how it works, and the same for the French people in my laboratory. So I would say to go more in cooperation between laboratory and to develop science, which is a shared science, open science, which can play with the strengths of each laboratory to create biggest subjects.
Thank you very much. For Vic, I think, Raoul, it's your turn. If you can introduce yourself again, and for the first time, and answer the question. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. My name is Raúl Sánchez. I'm a professor of German and Dutch at the University of Salamanca, and I am currently the Vice Rector for International Relations. Okay, I would like to say that over the last 3 years, the Virtual Institute for Quality Education, which has a profile on language and cultural diversity has achieved remarkable milestones. Yeah, we are very committed to collaborative research and advancements in the fields of linguistics and cultural studies across the 7, now 8, and soon 9 EC2U universities. As for the perspectives, and as I will explain later during the presentation of these activities that will be developed in the second phase, I think we have a very interesting working plan. First, our working plan includes an in-depth evaluation of our joint master's program. We will seek pedagogical innovation and program enhancement, and of course also the integration of new partner universities into the curriculum. Second, it also includes the completion of 2 research projects examining foreign language teaching methods and cultural biases and stereotypes in communication. We will disseminate the results of these projects to the broader public in all EC2U communities through a traveling exhibition and open lectures. And third, we will develop our Vicar PhD network. We would like to foster collaboration between PhD supervisors and students across the Vicar, the EC2U institutions. I think the future of the Vicar of the Virtual Institute for Quality Education is very promising, as we will continue to prioritize excellence in education, in research, and also in outreach. As for the challenges, we will have to overcome many of them. I will only quote here 3. First of all, the master. We have an a la carte master. Such a master is very difficult to manage because we are dealing with very different master managing systems, and we are pioneers at our own universities. That means we have lots of problems. Regarding research, several very different disciplines are working together in these virtual institutes: linguistics, cultural studies, education. So we have different ways of doing research, and it is not always easy to establish a cross-disciplinary dialogue. I think we have already talked about it. And then regarding the PhD network, finding external funding will be essential. And this will also be a major task for the members of the Vicar. But I hope we can jointly overcome these and other challenges together. We have done so in the first EC2U phase, and I'm very confident that we will do the same for the second phase.
Thank you very much. For WP6, Manuel.
Okay, thank you. Okay, when I was asked to think about the answer to this question, somehow I may say that I was thinking about the Roman god Janus, the 2 faces god, one of them looking at the past and another one looking at the future. That's why we have January as the month between 2 years. And about the past, how we started the VIs. With an identification of what were the strong points in our teams. We have people, as already mentioned, from engineering and, let us say, science, from geography, and from social science, from the law area. And the idea was to start with seed projects that somehow could attract the attention and where everybody would feel comfortable to be working. And these were like the resilience of buildings to heat waves and the sustainable reuse of historical buildings, because our universities have like many historical buildings, and this was a common interest within the partnership. Okay, but I would like to mention that we were like taking off in difficult conditions because the pandemic was not creating the best conditions for a good, let us say, we need to meet people. And we are, of course, working better in case there is a friendship. And this is like a process that in case we are working together, we will be having a strong friendship. So it's like a virtual helical cycle. And, okay, on the other hand, we may say that, okay, I'm a mechanical engineer from aerodynamics, and I know that it's much easier to take off against the wind. So, and it was the conditions we had. So, and let me use this image of like a set of birds or airplanes flying to talk about the future. So we are like an airplane company, and we need to survive in the future. So what do we need? Of course, to have airplanes flying, we need to have pilots and we need to have a crew, and so it means human resources. And we should like attract people to our airplanes. So it means it's quite important to think about the admission phases of our masters because we know that if we want to have research, the research depends very much on new blood in our teams because professors have the time very much occupied with many tasks, and so there is a strong need of researchers. And this means also a very good articulation in the near future between our virtual institutes and the doctoral school, because this is like another level in the research. It's very important that we will have PhD projects in co-tutel, and these PhD students will be like strengthening the links between the universities. So this is something I would like to emphasize. Okay, to keep the airplanes flying, from time to time, we need to land, and we need maintenance. So it means quality checking, and from time to time also, we should redesign ourselves, or we should be innovative according to what we have in each moment in the market. And we need also dimension, because if you look at the airplane companies, if they are small, they are not surviving. And so this is something we should think about, and to gain dimension, of course, we need to have projects, so we need to apply to be granted. And finally, I think there is an important topic is we need also to comply with the market rules. And in this case, I think somehow we are very well prepared, because in EC2U project, okay, we have the right structure, and the deliverables are always required to be finished in time, and so this is something that somehow assures our future. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I think we're all going to think about that image for a long time and try to see if we're hostesses or captains or, users of the plane or, and talk about the sustainability. That's going to be an issue too. Thank you very much. It's now time for questions or contributions or comments from the room. Is there another mic, Sarah? Yeah, it's so, okay, maybe you can go on the other side, Sarah, and I don't know if you want to say something. Okay, can you introduce yourself?
Ilaria Poggiolini from the University of Pavia. I have a question for you because I've been part of the activities of one of these enterprises a little bit as a teacher, and I have plans for the future, which, as you all know, the introduction of a new SDG. So my question is, for any of you who wants to comment on that, if you have to think of a common denominator between the three enterprises we have had until today, the three areas and the three aspiring SDGs. Because I'm thinking in the future maybe we could also think of something like this. I know how ambitious the whole thing is already, so don't think that I don't know that. But I'm also thinking that in the future consolidation phase, maybe refocusing on the SDGs, on the starting point for each of the three areas, and of course for the new one, and find a way of, for example, organizing an event, I don't know if at the forums or in other occasions, in which we try to find a link among all of us across the SDGs. So going back to the original idea for each area, and then to find a connection between the original ideas interpreted by the four groups at that point. So I mean, would that be a good idea in terms of trying to find common pathways that scientifically will reunite in a way? Because we are broadening, and then we need to perhaps also to refocus. It is just an idea. I don't know if any of you want to comment on that. Thank you.
Who's... yeah, go ahead.
I think it's a very interesting and challenging topic. As a matter of fact, we already have the challenge of doing that within each institute. Because, as was said before, we don't have the same background. It's already challenging to do that within. Maybe a level where that could be approached is a methodological level, which is distinct from the content level, but related, of course. But if we maybe think more in terms of, tools and methodologies, maybe that would be a way to approach this topic, I think. I can't say more now, but I think we have to raise the level from the specific content level to a more general issues that all of us confront. And maybe a methodological level could be a level where we could, compare, verify. So, experimental methodologies versus other types of methodologies. Maybe that would be a line of that we could explore. At least that's my idea.
Just an explanation. I also meant goals. Sorry, just a word. I had in mind refocusing on the goals and finding common goals. But that's another possibility. So
Or, for example, we could also, we are doing that already. Work on a given goal, but from different perspectives. For example, I will give you the example of a workshop we will be organizing by the WIKE, EC2U, but also with other alliances in November in Krakow, EC2U and other alliances on climate change from the perspective of the social science and the humanities. And that could be, for example, a way.
Thank you. So Lucille has a microphone.
May I just comment? If I'm doing, sorry for that, the role of a linguistic, it's okay. Okay, all them are sustainable development goals. And so sustainable development is what we have in common. So if we want to analyze us in terms of the contribution that we have for sustainable development and what are the indicators we are contributing, I think it's a common framework for all of us.
Sorry, can I give a very short insight? Sorry. I will pick your words. You said that we are dispersing, but in my perspective, as we are dispersing, we feel the need to look to what each others are doing. For instance, within our working package, we already felt the need to look to other working packages. We propose to new projects together. We have ideas for other projects. So I think that is something that is happening, although we did not yet think on a strategy, but we need each other's, even within our working packages.
And sorry for intervening again. Okay, I think at the end of this consolidation phase, of the phase that it is about to start, we have scheduled a conference on SDGs. So this is part of the working plan of the second phase.
Thank you very much. So Lucille has a microphone for that part of the room. Anyone? And no? You? Okay, go ahead.
In the same part of the room. I'm Daniela Șoitu, professor at Alexandru Ioan Cuza University of Iași, work package 4 leader. And I would like to congratulate all our colleagues for this pilot phase, not only the colleagues from the work package 4, but from all work packages. It was a wonderful job, I would say. And to continue the answers to your question, Ilaria, the work package 3 leader, actually, you. I would say that what was the most challenging job passed. It was during this pilot phase. From now on, we know better how to build the things, how to refocus, and also how to use this interdisciplinary approach and intersectorial. And yes, I will underline what Raul just said. On the next phase of the project, there are these connected conferences which will address the topics for all virtual institutes. Thank you very much to you all, I would say. And if you think, because we are in good health and well-being, if you think some movements will be appropriate, please, yes, yeah.
Last intervention, no question? You're all waiting for the coffee break. Yes, I know. But you said last. No one? Okay, well, can you introduce yourself?
So I stand up for health and well-being. So I'm Christine Fernandez-Malouin, as you know, vice rector, but I'm also a researcher in the area of health and well-being. I'm lucky because I work with Cornell. I just want to add that these virtual institutes are really the heart of our alliance. And we have heard yesterday Vanessa de Biais-Saintonge. She said that the alliance will grow with research. And it's the same feeling in all the alliance in Europe. In fact, to really enhance, to strengthen all the alliance, we need more research together. And for this, one more time, money is a key point. So I hope that we will receive some additional funding from our country, because that could help us to have a PhD in co-supervisions. First, because, as said our ministry yesterday, the future is in the hand of the youth. So thanks to the students to be there with us, because you are our future. And secondly, because if we want to have really a strength research in Europe, and that's one of the aim of this alliance, we need also to have research at an European levels with the connection between the laboratories in different areas, in interdisciplinarity, with the different cultures in our different country. So yesterday we have the close council with the rectors, and all say that we need to have more research together. So I hope that they are aware of the fact that now it will be very nice to have more funding for PhD students, because as said Manuel, as said Raoul, we as researchers, we are very busy, we have a lot of things to do, but if we have students behind us, we could do a lot of things together. So many thanks to everybody, and I hope the best for the futures together. Bye.
Thank you, Christine. Thank you, everybody. So this is time for a coffee break. Thank you for all of you to have excellently answered the questions. Maybe for you who wonder where is the room for your next meeting, let me just say that the work package for meeting with the hospital is taking place here at 10:30. The work package 5 meeting is on the first floor of this building. So you can have the coffee break for half an hour and then just go up. For work package 6, there is, I guess, a city tour, green discovery of the town. The meeting is at 10:10, right outside the building. And if it's raining, I have umbrellas. Remember that lunch is not organized for you, and that then you have shuttles to go to the science battle until 3 o'clock. You'll see me there waving. Thank you very much. Have a nice coffee. Bye-bye.